Hello and welcome to this week's vlog from Maddisons. Well, lots going on in the press at the moment about leasehold properties, and it's something we get asked an awful lot. What is a leasehold property? What's a share of freehold, a freehold? I mean, freehold is normally what you get with houses, and then flats fall into either leasehold or a share of freehold. Share of freehold is definitely better. That means that you and the other residents in the building will own the building structure itself and the land that it sits on. Leasehold simply gives you the right to live there for a certain number of years, and you have a statutory right to increase that lease term. And that brings me on to a story that's hit the news this week about some poor chap in London who's being asked for £42,000 to extend his lease. And that's because of a very strange little concept called a marriage value. Basically, everybody has the right to increase their lease. And as a lease gets down to 80 years, you really do want to start thinking about increasing it, because it gets very difficult to find a lender who will lend on a property with a lease of under 80 years. So you're cutting your market down if you can't sell your flat to somebody who needs a mortgage. That happened to this chap, and marriage value therefore kicks in. And what marriage value basically says is, in extending the lease, you are going to increase the value of that property. And so the freeholder thinks he should get a share of that profit, or she, should get a share of that uplift in profit. So they look at what the uplift in the profit will be from suddenly, say, going from a 70-year lease to a 125-year lease, work out the profit, split it between the two, and half of that needs to go to the freeholder. Now, that's part of something that the government's advisory body are looking at in their leasehold reforms. They want to clamp down on it, but it will not be popular for many landowners in London who really bank on that marriage value. But it strikes me as very unfair, I have to say. If, as the leaseholder, you've just paid the freeholder a chunk of money to extend the lease, then surely you've already given them uplift in that value. So I think it's very unfair, and something that certainly should be looked at. If anybody wants any more advice about leasehold, share of freehold, etc., do give me a call. I'm very happy to have a chat through about it. Staying in the London market, though, a really interesting story in the news this week. For 10 years, the highest property value ever sold was for a property in Oxford. I think it was about 110 million, something like that. Well, that's about to be eclipsed by a property purchase in Knightsbridge for £210 million. The former mansion, it's owned by the Saudi Arabia family at the moment, been on the market for 7 years, initially marketed at 300 million, so had a cool 90 million split off it. And it's a 7-storey, 45-room, 20-bed mansion in Rutland Gate, Knightsbridge. Being bought by a Chinese magnate, Chung Lui. I hope I've said that right. He also owns the Cheese Grater building in London, so very rich family. And I think he's hoping that that will be either converted into luxury flats or renovated, and they think it could be worth something between 500 and 700 million. These sums of money just get ridiculous, don't they? So yeah, really interesting to see that. And a good sign that the London super prime market is bouncing back. 2019 was a terrible year for those very wealthy properties in London, but a good sign that maybe there's a bit more confidence returning, and people are happy to invest back in the capital. Well, of course, January is a very quiet month, so difficult for me to find events to do in the area. But I thought Penshurst Place Roast and Ramble sounded lovely. It's going to be starting this Sunday, and you can go there, have a nice guided tour through the gardens, and then a lovely roast dinner. But we've got lots of properties coming to market. 2 that I'll tempt you with. I've got no photos shown you yet. A beautiful Victorian villa on Prospect Road, listing for around £1.4 million, and also a beautiful new build property tucked away in the centre of France, a wonderful secluded position, really big house going on at a guide of 1.275 million. So if either of those might be for you, do give us a call. I hope you've enjoyed the vlog this week, and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye bye.